Here are 101 facts about Honda. Number 1. The name Honda comes from its founder's surname, Soichiro Honda, which translates to the original rice paddy in Japanese. Number 2. The most produced vehicle in the world is the Toyota Corolla, right? Actually, no. The Corolla is the most produced car in the world. But the most produced vehicle is the Honda Super Cup, which has been in production since 1958 and has sold well over 100 million units. Number 3. The only purpose of the center exhaust on the Civic Type R is to produce loud, giggle-inducing noises at low speeds, because Honda didn't want to pump fake exhaust notes through the speakers. Well done, Honda. Number 4. The common practice for producing cars is to create a good relationship between the marketing team and the design team to ensure the marketability of the newly designed car. But for the production of the S2000, Honda decided to take the exact opposite approach. Basically, telling the marketing team to take a hike and let the engineers have their fun, which they definitely did. The engineers even fine-tuned the car by driving it on mountain roads and taking turns to see who can break the fun little roadster. Honda did this because they wanted a car that was, and I quote, more Honda, which is exactly what they got. Number 5. In 2013, Honda issued what has to be the stupidest recall in history. How stupid, you may ask? Well, they recalled 20,000 Odyssey because the badges were placed on the wrong side of the tailgate. Honda apparently did this because they wanted to prevent those cars from unfairly depreciating. Yeah, because that was the only issue with that model year. Number 6. Honda's ignition beep is Morse code for the letter H. Number 7. The 1964 Honda S600 was the first Japanese car to be sold in red. Because prior to that, red and white cars were prohibited in Japan, so they wouldn't be confused for emergency response vehicles, which prompted Soichiro Honda to protest these laws. And after a long, arduous process, Soichiro managed to convince the government to take a chill pill, all because he really wanted to sell his sporty new car in red. Number 8. The Honda Civic is the third most stolen vehicle in the US, closely followed by the Accord in 4th place and the CR-V in 10th place. Number 9. Honda became the sole engine supplier for the IndyCar series in 2006. And coincidentally, that year's Indy 500 was the first in recorded history to not feature a single engine problem. By the way, the Indy 500 had been around for 95 years at that time. Number 10. Honda has been the largest motorcycle company in the world since 1959, with over 400 million units sold thus far, and they currently sell 10 million units annually, which is more than the next 3 closest global competitors combined. Which isn't surprising since Honda started as a motorcycle company. Number 11. That's the Honda That's. And no, that wasn't a mistake. That's called That's like, that's its actual name. And as you can see, That's wasn't a cool car. It was an underpowered, boring K car that no one asked for. And Honda's attempt at creating another rush hour scene with That's name really didn't help its case. That's why That's failed so hard that Honda discontinued That's in just 4 years, which made That's a disappointment. How can Germans speak like this? Number 12. In 1991, most countries banned the sale of yellow CRXs because it turns out that Honda used radioactive material in their Y49 paint colors, also known as Barbados Yellow. Number 13. In 1989, Honda unveiled the Sports Experimental at the Chicago Motor Show, now known as the Honda NSX. After their show, Honda president Tadashi Ko got into the NSX and revved the out of it, while Ford was in the middle of their presentation, one booth over, which really pissed Ford off. But there was nothing they could do about it. Fast forward to 2016, Ford was driving their newly announced Ford GT down the Detroit Motor Show when they happened to drive past Acura presenting their brand new NSX, which is when Ford decided to rev bomb Acura in the middle of their presentation, letting them know that revenge is a dish best served cold. A 27-year-old dish to be exact. Number 14. Acura has an anime series called Type S. You can watch season 1 and 2 on YouTube or on Acura's official website. Number 15. In the late 70s, a disabled woman by the name of Norik Kotsuji sent a letter to Honda where she asked them if there was a way for her to drive a car. Because both of her hands were disabled, and her dream was to drive her mother around. This simple letter struck a chord with Teo Matsumoto, Honda's public relations manager, and he made it his mission for Noro's dream to come true by taking it up the corporate ladder. And after a couple of years of trying, Honda gave Teo the resources to adapt the German Franz system to Noro's needs in 1982. After consulting with her doctors, Honda was able to perfectly tailor a Civic to Noro's needs. They also gave her private driving lessons, but she still couldn't legally drive. So Honda took Noriko and her Civic to Japan's parliament to plead their case and change the laws, which they did, allowing Noro's dream of driving her mother around to come true. But Honda didn't stop there. They also gifted her the Civic, which she learned how to drive on, and registered it under her name with a number plate 1982. Number 16. The red Honda emblem is reserved for their high-performance line of cars, also known as Type R. Number 17. Honda's current slogan is the power of dreams, but before people made stuff like this, their slogan was, "You meet the nicest people on a Honda," which is very wholesome. Number 18. The U.S. division of Formula 4 currently uses a slightly tuned version of the engine used in the second-generation Civic Type R. Number 19. Honda invented the CVCC system in 1972, which used a small chamber to pre-ignite the air-fuel mixture before the combustion cycle. In simpler terms, it allowed their engines to use less fuel and produce smaller amounts of harmful gases, eliminating the need for catalytic converters. This was such a big deal back then that Ford and Chrysler immediately struck a deal with Honda to use this technology. But GM refused to use this system. In fact, GM CEO said, and I quote, "This might work on some little toy motorcycle engine, but I see no use for it on one of our GM car engines." Upon hearing his engines being called little toys, Shuichiro Honda bought a 5.7-liter 1973 Chevy Impala to be shipped back to Japan, where his engineers began to outfit the big American V8 with his little toy technology. After the engine was successfully updated, the car was shipped back to the U.S. and sent to the EPA labs, where the CVCC-equipped Impala became clean enough to pass the regulations without a catalytic converter. And at that moment, everyone around the world heard the echoes of Soichiro's big, voluptuous middle finger to GM. Number 20. The Honda Civic Type R holds the Nürburgring Ring World Record for the fastest front-wheel drive car with a time of 7 minutes and 44 seconds. Number 21. If you ever decide to touch grass and miraculously manage to get a woman to marry you, you can immediately make her second-guess her decision by giving her a Honda wedding ring, which is made from the same material that catalytic converters are made of. Number 22. From 1997 to 1998, the US spec Integra Type R only had one option, which was air conditioning. And yes, that includes color options as well, since it only came in white. Number 23. The 1987 Honda Prelude was the first production vehicle to feature four-wheel steering. Number 24. In the late 60s and early 70s, customers started complaining about their Hondas rusting pretty badly in Michigan due to their extensive use of road salt. And since Honda was pretty new in America, they needed to take immediate action to build trust, which is why they hired a representative to visit their dealerships and set up free inspection days. The representative was also instructed to buy back the rusted cars from their owners at retail price to be taken off the road and crushed immediately. Over the course of a couple of months, Honda successfully bought and destroyed thousands of rusty Hondas. The most interesting part about this was the fact that the owners weren't required to buy another Honda. They were given the full amount in cash with no strings attached, which was a genius PR move by Honda. Number 25. In 2006, Honda started offering airbags on their Gold Y motorcycles, and to this day, the Goldwing remains to be the first and only motorcycle to come with an airbag. Number 26. Honda is a major exporter of soybeans. And I'm not kidding when I say major. In 2012 alone, Honda exported 1 million bushels from Ohio to Japan, which means you can call your Honda-loving friend a soy boy in good conscience. Number 27. The rocket-inspired Honda CR-Z was the first ever manual hybrid vehicle. Number 28. Honda hired Ayrton Senna to help them fine-tune the NSX before it went into production. And after taking a lap in Honda's Pride and Joy, Senna told them to stiffen up the suspension and the chassis because it was as loose as a grandma's armpit. Okay, I may have paraphrased what he said, but Honda did listen to Senna's advice, and they redesigned the suspension and the body to make the NSX the JDM legend that it is today. Number 29. Honda was the first Japanese company to create a luxury counterpart in 1989, which they called Acura, and it means done with precision.